And what this shows is that it is effective in children, but not necessarily in small babies, which is interesting.
Yeah, so the data that we've got, which the European Medicines Agency have provided a positive scientific opinion on today, is really around our clinical trials. So the key thing to remember about our clinical trials is that it's done in a very controlled environment. So the children are under bed nets, they have the highest standard of care if they get malaria, etc. So the vaccine is an additional tool, if you like, in the fight against malaria. So the efficacy of the vaccine is shown to be about 40%, so a reduction in malaria cases of about 40%. So
in which age group, though?
In the up to the 17 months old. The efficacy in very small babies is much lower, but it's still extremely significant in terms of the overall disease burden.
And that presumably is because very small babies don't yet have very developed immune response apparatus, do they? So you can't activate it because it's not actually there.
Exactly right.
Whereas with slightly older children, they do have a slightly more developed immune response. Yeah. When it comes to the number of vaccinations that people have to have, yes, they do have to have a number of boosters, so this could be potentially very expensive for a company like GlaxoSmithKline if you're not going to be making any profits from it.
So what we've said, as you say, is this is going to be a not-for-profit vaccine. So it's a not-for-loss vaccine, but it's a not-for-profit vaccine. It will need probably 4 doses up to the ages of 18 months. So we will need to work very closely with the World Health Organization and with national governments and regulatory authorities about how that is introduced over time to make sure that the vaccination program fits with this schedule.
Anything that helps save lives from malaria, of course, is hugely significant. The WHO will now need to sign off on this. Yeah. How soon do you think people can be treated with Mosquirix?
So the WHO need to take the right time to think about the policy recommendations, and it's very important that we allow them as an independent body to do that. And then they need to work individually with the national regulators and the authorities, the ministries of health within a country. So we're not expecting this vaccine to be available this year, or probably not even next year, because you have to get the right regulatory pathways in place. Remember, we've been working on this for 30 years, so if it takes another couple of years to get this right, that's not actually, in the grand scheme of things, that significant in terms of the development of this.